on the structure issue out here is a common schedule to try and enhance student opportunity and to, minimize conflicts in terms of shared staff, those kinds of issues, and arguably obtain some efficiencies as well because of the lack of symmetry, if you will, between our existing junior high schedule and our senior high schedule. In terms of just for some calculation pieces up there, and again, we'll have to work through all of these, a 6-period day with staff teaching 5 of the 6 out there would only generate a pure. If you take that 1 period, in terms of the difference between 6 and 5, there'd be 1 prep period. That would generate only 9,625 minutes, okay? On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you had a 6-period day and staff only taught 4 of those, obviously then, again, in the 6-period day piece out there, 55, 56, the minutes need to be tweaked a little bit in terms of when you get to an actual schedule, and I'll show you one in a minute. But if staff were teaching only 4 or 6 periods out there, they would obviously 6 minus 4, 2 prep periods would be about 19,250 minutes. We could have worked some of this the other way in terms of, you can do the math too, in terms of if X periods are prep periods, then the student contact minutes are, for the opposite for the most part, excepting, before school, after school, passing time kinds of pieces. 5-period day, teaching 4 of the 5 up there results in 1 period of prep. Again, times 175 out there, et cetera, and that about 11,725. Under the existing schedule now, we're on a 4-period day in the senior high. Our teachers, staff that are on a pure, that model A there, teach 3 of the 4 periods. They get 1 period of prep. That results in about 15,225 minutes. The junior high is basically on a 7-period day with a home-based schedule. And again, I belabor the point, I'm assuming all of you remember these things, but junior high and they have 2 prep periods in terms of 46, 47, 48 minutes, depending on the year and which period is where and some of those issues out there. Again, for no other reason than comparative purposes out there, the elementary prep time is basically 300 minutes per week, 10,500 minutes sitting out there. In terms of, as you look to, again, the negotiations issue out there, and as we resolve the structure issue in that, we look at multiple scenarios of 5-period or 6-period day out there, but for the most part it doesn't make any difference whether you go to semesters, quarters, trimesters in terms of the amount of prep time. If you get a period per day in that out there, or 2 periods or those kinds of issues. So again, in terms of the prep piece is a negotiable piece that will have to be worked out through that process should the board move to some form of structure change.
Yeah, just to make sure I have this right on the question, these figures show non-student contact time, or more decisively what's termed as prep time, non-time periods?
These would be prep time, Jeff, in terms of minutes there.
School aspect.
Correct. In terms of, they're not reflective of the student contact minutes, teaching minutes, if you will. They're not inclusive of passing time, before school time, after school time. Again, out there in terms of most people in this room can make their own judgments about the importance of, teachers being available for parents after school or before school, or the applicability of having teachers available, for kids between periods, or to, you know, be out in the halls even if they're not assigned duty, or for those kinds of values. We're not making any judgment there, okay?
Are we looking at seeing any impact in terms of the elementary prep time figuring in either of the top two, 6-period or 5-period, or are they going to remain pretty much stagnant with that?
In terms of, again, if the board concurs with the recommendation not to move the 6th grade and or the 5th grade to any other kind of format out there, for the most part, the decisions that we have before us and that would have to be negotiated are really secondary issues, Jeff. Accepting potentially, and we do have a clause on that sheet that I have from our master contract out there, staff that cross all 3 buildings, multi-level staff, have always been treated individually anyway in that. So the carryover from the discussions as we would enter into negotiations if the structure changes would likely have little or no impact in terms of those shared staff out there. Does that answer your question?